What's going on, folks? This is Security Monitor Lizard, and welcome to the Reptile Rustle Up. Today we're going to be making some burgers. As you can see, we have our 80/20 ground beef. We're going to be seasoning it with Worcestershire, some garlic powder, a little bit of oregano, a little bit of parsley, tiny bit of mustard powder, and some ginger. Now you want to use ginger when you're cooking beef because it will actually bring out a lot of the beef flavor. Of course, salt and pepper. Now, I want to say this, we are not going to be using a ton of salt in here because when we top it with the pickles, it's actually going to make it a lot saltier, so we don't want to overdo it. And if you would like your own jar of pickles, whether you want the pint or the quart or the half-gallon size, go ahead and hit the description below and hit me up at postaliguana@gmail.com. And of course, we're going to put in some diced serranos. I keep pulling them up a little bit. But we'll also be topping our burgers with nice tomato, some raw onion. I was going to caramelize the onions, but I figured that was just going to take too much time. I'm kind of lazy about it. Some provolone cheese, and we'll be putting them on these nice buns here. Of course, we're going to toast them. Don't worry, they'll be toasted. All right, so let's get started. All right, so first things first, we're going to cut up our serranos. We got our nice sharp knife. Always have a very sharp knife because the last thing that you want is to have to go to the hospital if you cut yourself and it's harder to stitch you up. The most dangerous thing you can have in a kitchen is a dull knife. So we're going to cut these lengthwise. Woo! Look at that, it fell right over. That one's a little curved. It's got a little angle in its dangle. So don't worry about it. We're just going to dice these up. We want it real small. So we're going to cut through. Let's put it in like a chopping machine. And make sure you don't cut yourself. I always leave the seeds in because, well, mama ain't raised no bitch. But regardless, you just want to make sure that you have a nice, spicy burger. You want a lot of flavor. So we're going to chop these up, dice them up real tiny so that they mix in real well. Alright, getting close. We're almost there. Oh man. Now you don't want big old chunks in there, because if you get chunks in there, we're going to have issues and you're just going to be biting into big old serrano chunks and you get too much of that flavor and not enough of the rest. Alright, so we'll clean off our knife. Gather everything up. And there we go, nice and diced. Alright. Next up, what we're going to do is, there's something I like to do. I like to separate the meat just a little bit. So it gives a little bit more surface area for you to work with, for the spices to adhere to. So we're going to take our meat and just slice it, just kind of move it around. Don't be afraid to use your hands. You can use your hands. You have your own burger. Don't worry. Alright? Now you don't want it to be all separated. You don't have to go through and get every fiber out. But you want it to be a little bit separated. That way when we put our spices in again, it'll adhere a little bit better. And what we'll do is we will slide all that in there. Wash our hands, and then let's get to the spices. Alright, now let's add our spices in no particular order. I mean, you don't really have to because we're gonna be mixing it all up. Why not? A dash of salt, some pepper, and the salt, we're going light on the salt. We're going to go a little bit light on the pepper because we have the serranos in there. It's going to add a lot of spice. Our ginger, now you just want a dash of ginger, just a little bit. So we're going to get some ground mustard, parsley, our oregano. We don't want too much oregano. I don't really like, if you want to add basil, go ahead and add basil. I don't really like basil because it adds a little bit of sweetness, a little too much sweetness. But I want this to be really spicy. Garlic powder, we're not going to add too much, just a dash of Worcestershire sauce. Now our spices are in there. It's time to mix. So once you got it all mixed around, you're gonna wanna be prepared with a plate, which I have. But once you got it all mixed around, you wanna really get in there. You wanna mix everything in. Make sure it's all homogeneous, and there's no, you don't want one part to be too salty, one part to be too garlicky, one part to be too have too much ginger, and you just want it to be basically essentially one large meatball. So what I like to do is I don't know if you can see, but I like to split it apart and fold it over and put it back together, and then move my hands around it, and that really makes it nice and homogeneous. So you want to blend it together. Good nice blend in there. Let's make some patties. So we're just making 2 burgers tonight. So you want to mold it kind of into like a meatball, like this, and then just kind of slap it. Give the old slap-a-rooney. Like if your partner's behind, they're just looking too fine. Alright, there's one. Now what you can do, so if any little bits fall in, what I like to do is it's sticky. You can just use it kind of like a sponge. Like a piece of tape taking off cat hair. And just pull it all together. Alright, so mix that in here. Kind of get it formed. Now the reason you put it into like a meatball is to kind of like compress everything. You want to get a lot of that air out, because if you have a bunch of that air in there, you're going to get these cracks. I don't know if you can kind of see them, but it'll crack up, and then it won't cook as well. It'll fall apart. It won't be able to flip around. And there we go. Boom. 2 nice patties ready for the grill. Alrighty, now that our grill is nice and hot, we're gonna pop on our burgers. See, you want to hear that sizzle. That's the main thing. So we're gonna close it up. And while those are cooking, we're going to go ahead and make sure we cut up our vegetables. I'm not going to film it just because, well, I only have one camera. Alright, I think they're ready, so we all need that burger flip. Oh, yeah. Yeah, flip. Nice and juicy. So we're going to give it one more flip, and then we're going to put our cheese on after we flip it. What's this? Flip. Flip. Cheese on. Close it. Make sure the cheese actually melts on there. Juicy. Totally nice. They're going to be a little well done. That's fine. But I was paying attention to Tito Cano. Anyway. Alright, so now it's time to make our burgers. Let's do this. So we got our pickles, got our onions, tomato, and of course our stadium mustard. So shake up your mustard. Go ahead, pop a little bit on the bottom. Pop a little bit on the bottom. Take our burger. Place it there. Move our pickles so you can see. Place her there. Got a little crispy on this one, but that's okay. then we're going to go ahead and what you want to do is you want to separate your onion. Separate it a little bit. That way you can kind of spread it around. Make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So just spread this one around. Make it a little more aesthetically pleasing. Then pop our tomato on there. Pop our tomato on there. All right. Then last but not least, our homemade pickles that you can get at postaliguana@gmail.com. Take a couple of these. Juicy. And we're just going to put one per for these burgers. All right, there you go. That didn't happen. There are your lizard, your reptile rustle up burgers. Now, there's only one thing left to do. Top them and try them. Alrighty, moment of truth. Let's see how we did. Well, goddamn, that's good. I was expecting a lot more bite from the Serranos. You can definitely taste them, but getting a lot of that pickle. So let me hit it from the back side, see what we get. And definitely caramelized onions are going to work a lot better on this. Oh. There you go for a cross section. I'm going to go ahead and devour these things. I appreciate it if you guys would like, subscribe, tell me what I did wrong, tell me what I did right. Because these, man, ooh, there's that bite. These things, they ain't gonna last. Oh man, especially with that provolone. Take care. Love you guys, and see you on the lot.